Everything gone when you pass away. Okay. Then of course Buddha rejected these two concepts. And again, what is the Buddha's standpoint? So the Buddha's teaching on rebirth is definitely very different, right, from other religion. And of course, Buddhists do not believe in the permanent soul, right? So in Buddhism, the belief in a permanent soul is just an illusion, okay, created by the mind. Okay, then, right, Buddhism talk about the continuity through the concept of the uninterrupted stream of consciousness. Imagine that the consciousness, flowing continuously, right, from beginningless time. Okay, we don't know when, right? From beginningless time, it flows on and on, from life to life, until one realizes Nibbana. Okay, so they talk about the stream of consciousness which flow on uninterruptedly. Okay, so if that's the case, then how do we explain this stream consciousness? Okay, uninterruptedly, how do we explain for it? Right? So for Buddhism, they talk about the continuity. I think you know what is continuity. On and on and on. Right? For every new moment, okay, they talk about the preceding moment and the succeeding moment. Okay, so every new moment is influenced by the karmic energy, or you can understand it as the karmic forces that carry forward, from the previous moment, right, and then creating a continuous flow of the consciousness. That is to say, upon the cessation, right, of one unit, right, of stream consciousness, it will transmit its karmic energy. We are talking about the karmic energy or the forces to the next moment, and on and on and on. Okay, so we can say that every unit of stream consciousness, okay, stream consciousness never end, right, in this life, right? It continue until the death of one's life. Then with all his past accumulated, the karmic energy that have been stored in the stream of consciousness, right, continue, right, carrying forward to the next life. I think that's clear, right? And so when the conditions are ripened or are met, right, the new life is born, right? So we will look at what are these conditions later on. Okay, so we're talking about the conditions are ripened, so the new life is born, right? So the new being in the next life, right, has been described as neither the same person nor a different person. You understand? So you find a lot of Buddha's teaching, that kind of teaching on neither nor. Right? You cannot say that the new being, okay, that has been reborn is described as the same person with the previous one, nor complete a different person. It's very interesting. Okay, you can say that it's neither nor lah. You see, you cannot say it's completely a different person or completely a same person. Definitely, this understanding is to avoid the permanent soul, right? Because every single unit of stream consciousness is different. Okay, yeah, because the accumulated the karmic energy was transmitted from the preceding moment to the next moment. So every new moment, not the same, no, cannot be not the same, no, not the same. Yeah, I need to talk about the Gandhabba. Maybe some of you know the word Gandhabba occurred, right? In one of the suttas, in Asalayana suttas, right? The concept of Gandhabba, the name of Gandhabba is mentioned, right? And then this word is mentioned as one of the three conditions that contributing to the arising of a new being, right? Okay, what are these three conditions? We will look at it. Is you have to meet the what they call the father's firms and the mother's act, and the fatality of the mother, right? And the third one is the Gandhabba. You find in this suttas the word Gandhabba is found. Okay, but mind you, the word Gandhabba is already found in the Hinduism, okay, or the Brahmanism before the Buddha's time. The word Gandhabba has been used, right? Of course, the Buddha used the word Gandhabba provided, right, you don't conceive it as the permanent soul, right? That is to say, the word that the Buddha used, right, the Gandhabba, is just mere a conventional term. Any word you can use, okay, but that's very skillful, right? It's just a conventional term, right? And okay, that refers to the stream of consciousness that carry karmic forces. All right, when a person dies, imagine that when a person dies, all his accumulated karmic forces will continue and carry forward to an immediate rebirth linking consciousness. You see, there are many terms into this. This I already make it a very simple one already. Imagine when you die, right? All your karmic, accumulated karmic forces will carry forward to the immediate rebirth linking consciousness, okay, in another existence. Isn't it interesting, no? Yeah, because we don't involve any permanent soul here, right? That's why in Theravada, right? In Theravada, unlike in Mahayana, they talk about the 49 days, right? That the new being will look for the new life, right? And then, but of course, in Theravada, rebirth, right, take place immediately. Don't ask me how immediate, okay? Of course, people will ask this question, cannot be immediate. There must be a gap. But it's okay, lah, right? Also consider immediate, because there's no mention of the date, of how many days, but it says that immediate, right, following the death of the person without any intermediate stage, right? Intermediate stage, without any intermediate stage, right? So anyway, just to make you clear, the word Gandhabba, right? Because the word Gandhabba is very confusing, okay? That I will explain in my next lectures, okay? Next sharing, the word Gandhabba is very confusing. However, the word Gandhabba is still found in the sutta. That's why I want to clarify the word Gandhabba. Merely the word Gandhabba is just only a conventional terms, right? So that refers to the stream of consciousness. Again, you have to know it's a stream of consciousness that carrying all the past karmic forces, right, aspire to be reborn in the subsequent life. Right? So again, these words Gandhabba should not be taken as a permanent soul. Now we look at the Milinda Panha because this is a very important text, right, in our study of karma, because a lot of question is asked by the King Milinda. And this text, Milinda Panha, is very significant, right, in our discussion, right, particularly the topic of the rebirth. Right? And if you look at this text date back to very early days, right? Talking about 100 BC to 200 AC. It's about 2,000 years history. This is a very important text. And then this text records a dialogue between the King Milinda, okay, and the Nagasena. It's a monk called Nagasena, right? And this King Milinda, he was the Greek king, okay, the Greek king, and then he control, right? He was the king of the bacteria. Bacteria, the bacteria. Where is Bactria? It's an ancient kingdom. Okay, this ancient Bactria kingdom cover a very wide range of region, including the Pakistan, the Uzbekistan and Tajikistan and Afghanistan, okay, cover all this big area. Those days called the bacteria, right? So he was a king of this bacteria, the King Milinda, right? And we know that the Buddhism was flourished at that time, and we know that during the Third Buddhist Council, right? During the Fourth Buddhist Council, okay, the Fourth Buddhist Council was held in that area. So you can see the importance of that area. okay, in our history of Buddhism. And Milinda Panha was composed during that time. And Milinda Panha is regarded, if you look at our Pali canonical text, right, in the Burmese tradition, this Milinda Panha is considered as one of the books in the Khuddaka Nikaya. But strange enough, in the Thai as well as in the Sri Lankan, this Milinda Panha is not regarded as the canonical text. Okay, and what important is this Milinda Panha, because it is a product of the encounter of two great civilizations. Okay, so what are these two civilizations? One is the Greek civilization as well as the India civilization. Okay, so it's an encounter of these two great civilizations, and you can consider this Milinda Panha as the book of wisdom, right, of the East and the West. The Greek represent the West, India represent the East. Okay, so it's a book of wisdom. And then King Milinda, he asked a lot of questions. Not everyone can answer his question because he was a king, right? You cannot simply, cannot play. Okay, so you have to be very serious with the king, right? That's why the Nagasena, the monk Bhante Nagasena, he can respond, all the questions posted by the king Milinda Panha, with full of wisdom. And then of course he also giving illustrations, analogies, to further illustrate. Okay, and yeah, there is this very famous analogy to illustrate the phenomenon of rebirth, that is the simile of the flame, right? And this one is recorded in the Milinda Panha. It's been used by a lot of scholars, to describe the phenomenon of rebirth in Buddhism. Okay, so when you ask about the rebirth in Buddhism, right, then he made a comparison, right, with the fire element in the air. Fire is one of the what they call it, is one of the dharma, right? It's one of the dhatu. It's found in the air. It's found in the air. It is there. It is invisible, but it is there, right? So the mind is like the fire element, right? And the fire element exists in the air, right? How about the body? The body is like the candle, lit candle, right? So when the candle runs out of wax, okay, or wicks, okay, then the fire extinguished, right? You hear carefully. These are all analogy, right? Then the fire extinguished, but when the fire extinguished, right, that doesn't mean that there is no fire left in the air. You see? So we are able to light another candle because of the fire element still there, okay, but invisible, right, throughout the air. It's interesting. So similarly, when our body die, right, as long as we still have the fur of the ignorant, okay, like craving, desire, the tanha and the clinging, our mind will be attached, with the material that form together another life of being. Okay, so these are the analogy used by the Nagasena to explain to the King Milinda. It is very profound, yet very logical, right? Very logical. Ordinary people cannot explain with this analogy, right? So another similar, you look at the second part, right? The childhood, right? It said when a human being, right, pass through different stages of life, right, from the childhood, all right, adolescent or the youth, and the adult, right, or when you come to the old age, right, old age, you can say that each stage is conditioned, right, by the previous stage, right, in the continuous the process, right, and you can say that the accumulated the karmic forces of an individual that carried forward, right, from moment to moment. Okay, so if this, then in this case, we cannot say that the the adult, right, is the same person as a child, nor a different person from the child. Okay, I think it's clear. You cannot say that they are not they are the same or not the same. Neither no relationship. I think this illustration is also one of the very famous simile used by Nagasena to account for the rebirth. All right, we are talking about the rebirth, so we are neither the same nor different, from the past life. You cannot say that we are completely the same nor completely different.